Lance, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's up?
Thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
No problem.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about your amputations.
Well, I was in a traumatic motorcycle accident, and I'm what they call a elbow dysartic. I have my full humerus, and I am a left above knee amputation on my left side.
And can you tell us a little bit about the prosthesis you're wearing right now for the upper and lower extremity?
On the lower, I have a microprocessor knee with a carbon fiber energy return foot, and I wear a body-powered upper extremity prosthesis.
And maybe you could tell us a little bit about how the prosthesis you wear on a day-to-day basis differ from some of the ones that you wear during your normal sporting and recreation activities.
Well, the day-to-day ones, this, like my knee here, it's great for walking, going around town, but it doesn't do too well running. So I put what they call a running blade on. It helps me go really, really fast.
Now, I know that individuals with amputations, you take away a body part, you take away some of that skin area, some of that body surface area, and that's not as much to sweat and cool down the core temperature with when you're starting to really, really work out hard. So people have a hard time with increased sweating. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh yeah, yes, that's a big problem.
And usually when we get that increased sweating, that residual limb, whether it be your arm or your leg, that shrinks up a little bit throughout the day, and that can cause that to be smaller. With your prosthetic sockets being the same size, you get some movement and some pistoning. Have you ever had that occur?
Oh yeah, that's a common occurrence.
And does that cause pain and discomfort for you?
Absolutely.
And what do you normally do when that occurs?
I'd like to stop, take off my prosthesis, dry everything off, then I can put it back on, nice and fresh. Maybe put a sock on to make up for that volume loss, and then I'm ready to go.
Great. Now, do you have any cardiovascular conditions or any secondary conditions since you had the traumatic amputation?
I do not.
Because I know some individuals do have
And
those that we have to take into account.
That's a big problem for some people, but luckily I'm fortunate I don't have
That's
that.
great. Now, do you ever have any sport or recreational activities that you like to do where you don't wear a prosthesis?
Well, I do. Actually, I do swimming. And I have to take my leg off. And a lot of times when there's a volunteer helping me, they might put it somewhere where I can't find it. And I get out of the pool, I need to find that thing.
Absolutely.
So if they can ask me first, where can I put this for you? That'd be perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Lance, as far as your prostheses go, when you're doing those sporting and recreation activities where you don't wear them, do you have any special instructions that you'll give a volunteer when you hand them that prosthesis?
Oh, I definitely do. And each situation is a little bit different. If I'm swimming that day, and I want them to keep that as far away from the water as possible. You know, an $80,000 knee isn't easily replaceable. Now, if I'm at the gym or something like that, it doesn't have to go as far. I like to be able to see it so that I can get to it pretty quickly.
Have you ever had an experience where you've given it to a volunteer and that volunteer is no longer there when you get back?
I have, and that can be a problem, hopping around looking for your leg.
So you want to make sure that if they're not going to be there when you return, that they've left instructions on where it is, or they've given it to somebody that will be there when you get back to claim it.
Yes. All right. Absolutely.
Great. Amputations can be caused from multiple issues. The primary issue for an amputation is decreased blood circulation, where the blood flow just doesn't get down to that extremity and the tissue dies off. Also trauma, being born without a body part or a limb, or cancer, where the tumor invades the tissue and has to be removed. Amputations can occur at many levels throughout the body, through different aspects of the arms, the legs, through the pelvis, and at different regions and levels throughout. You may hear a number of different terms as far as AK or BK. AK simply means above the knee amputation. BK simply means below the knee amputation. Sometimes you hear other terms such as transtibial or transfemoral. If you have questions about these different terms, ask a supervisor or someone that is more informed than you are. You may hear other terms that you're not familiar with. The important thing to remember is that as we move up in amputation levels and take out more joints with an amputation, it will decrease the function of the individual and make it harder for them to perform different activities. One of the most important aspects to take into consideration for individuals with amputation in a sport and recreation event is skin breakdown. Skin is our baseline defense against any infection. When individuals have an amputation, and that amputation or the amputated or residual limb is placed in a socket, it sweats much more. This leads to early skin breakdown. Also, when you take out joints, those joints have ability to conform to the ground. They have rotation. When you take away those joints and add in a prosthesis that doesn't have that same amount of ability, then that rotation has to occur somewhere, and it generally occurs between the skin and the socket, which can also lead to skin breakdown.